Don't miss a second of this heartfelt story. Watch until the end to experience every twist, every emotional reveal, and the final moment that will make your heart skip a beat. Chapter 1. Swiping Toward Destiny. Avery never believed in love at first swipe. Their dating app history was filled with disappointing conversations, broken connections, and more than one ghosting incident. Still, something about the holiday season made them try again. When a profile popped up with the name Jordan, it was like the universe finally offered a glimmer of hope. Jordan's smile radiated warmth. His messages were witty, deep, and disarmingly sincere. Every conversation felt effortless. For once, it seemed like Avery had found someone who not only understood them, but saw them in a way few others did. They spent hours messaging late into the night, sharing their favorite holiday movies, their deepest insecurities, even the stories they hadn't told anyone before. When Jordan revealed he lived in another state, 3 hours away, it didn't feel like a deal breaker. It felt like a hurdle worth jumping over. Chapter 2. Holiday Leap of Faith. Impulsiveness wasn't Avery's style, but after a particularly warm exchange on Christmas Eve, Avery did something completely out of character. They booked a flight to surprise Jordan. With a small suitcase and a heart full of hope, Avery arrived in the snowy mountain town where Jordan supposedly lived. The town was picture-perfect, string lights on every tree, carolers on corners, and the smell of cinnamon drifting from every cafe. But nothing compared to the shock waiting at Jordan's front door. The person who answered wasn't the man from the photos. His name was Mason. He looked nothing like Jordan, or rather, the Jordan from the app, and the confusion on his face turned into horror as he realized exactly who Avery was. Chapter 3. The Real Jordan. Mason explained quickly, awkwardly, and with more honesty than Avery expected. He had used his cousin Jordan's photos because he thought no one would ever swipe right on the real him. He hadn't meant for things to go so far, but once Avery started replying, he couldn't stop. Furious and humiliated, Avery turned to leave, but the weather had other plans. A sudden blizzard swept through the mountains, canceling all outgoing travel for at least 2 days. Trapped in a stranger's house with the man who catfished them, Avery had no choice but to stay. It should have been unbearable, and yet, Mason wasn't entirely a liar. His words, the connection they'd built, had all been real. Still, how could Avery trust someone who began their story with a lie? Chapter 4. A Dangerous Deal. Over hot cocoa and tense silences, Mason made a bold offer. He would help Avery meet the real Jordan, the man in the photos, who just so happened to be in town visiting family. If Avery agreed to pretend to be Mason's significant other for his family's upcoming holiday dinner, Mason would make the introduction. It was manipulative, sure, but Avery, still stubbornly hopeful, agreed. The dinner was awkward. Mason's family was enthusiastic and warm, convinced the two were in love. Avery felt like a fraud, but also oddly comfortable. Mason, despite everything, was attentive, respectful, and went out of his way to make Avery laugh. For a fake relationship, it started feeling oddly real. The next day, Mason kept his word and introduced Avery to the real Jordan. Jordan was charming, attractive, and instantly interested in Avery. Chapter 5. Chasing the Ideal. Dating Jordan felt like stepping into a romantic comedy. He was everything Mason wasn't. Confident, smooth, outwardly successful. But as the dates went on, Avery noticed something missing: depth. The conversations were surface level. Jordan didn't remember little details or ask meaningful questions. He liked how Avery looked, but hadn't taken the time to understand who they were beneath the surface. It left Avery confused. On paper, Jordan was the dream, but every time Avery walked away from a date, it was Mason's voice echoing in their mind. Mason, who listened. Mason, who challenged. Mason, who had lied, but never about how he felt. Chapter 6. The Mirror of Truth. The truth hit Avery on a snowy walk through town. It wasn't about looks or charm, or even honesty, though that mattered too. It was about feeling seen. And for all his faults, Mason had truly seen Avery. When they returned to the house that night, Mason was distant. He'd overheard conversation between Avery and Jordan that made him believe he had no chance. But Avery had already made their choice. They confessed, awkwardly and honestly, that they couldn't stop thinking about Mason. That even though he lied, everything else had felt so real. Mason, stunned, admitted he had fallen for Avery from the very first message, and every moment since had only made that feeling stronger. Their kiss, slow and unsure, melted every wall that had been built between them. Chapter 7. The New Beginning. When the snow finally cleared, Avery had a choice: return home and pretend it never happened, or stay a little longer and see what could become of this unexpected love. They chose to stay. Avery and Mason spent New Year's Eve together, dancing in the living room under fairy lights, surrounded by Mason's overjoyed family. There were still things to work through, trust to rebuild, doubts to face, but the foundation was finally real. No more lies. Just two people, flawed and genuine, daring to believe that love could grow from something as digital and unpredictable as a swipe. And in the end, it did. If this story moved you, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Activate the notification bell so you never miss a new tale. Give this video a like, leave a comment sharing your thoughts or similar experiences, and share this video with anyone who believes in love, especially the kind you never see coming.